Hello fellow modelers and styling fanatics, welcome back to my channel. I hope that everyone is doing fine and enjoys the hobby. Concrete Banger is back with another one of its notorious episodes. Took me a while, but I returned. So, on today's episode, guys, we do some work on our Panzer 4, on our body build Panzer 4 with Ozzy. No, let me rephrase that. On our body build with Ozzy, which is a Panzer 4 from Border Models in 1 to 35th scale and kit number BT-005. Now, a short disclaimer here, weather is getting warmer and day is getting bigger, and I was kinda lazy bone. That's my excuse. I was lazy bones and together busy, so I couldn't wrap up a proper episode. Not much of a progress has been done, but some progress is done, and I am really happy with it so far. So, with all that said here, disclaimer is closed. And I want you guys to do what you do each and every time you watch one of my videos. Take a seat, make yourself comfortable, crack the mandatory cold one, because this one is going to be needed. And let's see what me and Past George have for this episode. Have prepared for this episode. Oh my god, I cannot speak today. One of those days. So guys, welcome back to part 6 of the Panzer 4 body build with Ozzy. As you remembered from the end of the last update, we have completed our main assembly. What I mean, our main assembly, I mean we have completed the main assembly. I usually do. I leave the road wheels and sprocket, exhaust, pioneer tools and several other stuff aside. I then paint, base coat the whole vehicle, do the camo and start attaching pieces slowly. Why I do this? Because it suits me. It suits me on painting. It also helps me not to break fiddly stuff, small and tiny details that are fragile, and because it helps me with detail painting of parts like the pioneer tools, etc. So, what's our next step, you may ask? Our next step is to depict the damage that we have onto the photo. Which means that I'm gonna need to cut the front fenders and some other extra stuff. Apart the damage we see from the photo, I also wanna damage the road wheels, the rubber part of the road wheels. Here is a pristine, and oops, give me a second. And here is a damaged one. Okay, it's a little bit more damaged than I should, but anyway, that's how I want it to look. Now you're gonna ask me why to damage the road wheels, and I'm gonna answer you. In places like Italy, Greece, and mainly Mediterranean countries, our terrain is rough, especially in the summer. We have sharp rocks and totally dry terrain, which tends to damage the solid rubber parts of a tank. Not so heavy as this one, a little bit less, sorry, which means that cracks, especially cracks and small chunks of rubber should be chipped. I'm doing this just as you don't need to do this always. I am just doing it to add some extra spice. Anyway, and because I want it, and because I wanna do it, I wanna add as much detail as I can. Anyway, let me damage the road wheels of camera. Let me also cut the fenders as I am supposed to cut them, and I'm going to be back. So, back with the Panzer damage, no more pristine condition for this puppy, guys. So, over here in this sacrificial jar, I have every road wheel damaged. Some more, oops, some less. I will of course put a picture of them all together hanging out in the middle of the screen so you can have a better look. But all of them are here. They're gonna wait until I slap some paint onto them. So let's leave them aside and let's move on to the whole. I tried to follow the picture as best as I could. Over here it says sorry. Over here it is supposed to be bended and it's supposed to have a tarp on top, if I am not mistaken. Something like a tarp, so I will need to make a tarp. Probably, I don't know yet if I'm gonna make this. So anyway, I bended this. Onto the other side, the whole fender, the whole mudguard is missing together with a part of the fender. Looks like also the headlight is missing, but I am going to keep my headlight in place because mainly because I like this detailed part and because it is the only headlight that comes with a cable from the from the company, you know. So headlight is staying over here, and although I have no pictures from the back of the vehicle, I have opted to remove one of the two rear mudguards over here. So I have also kept the spring that holds the mudguard in place, and I have opted to make it to leave it like this, hanging. If this is going to survive the painting and all the handling I am going to do, then it should be a cool, gimmick onto the build. Now, I should add the side armor and damage this as well, but I'm not gonna do that because I am too bored to do that right now at the moment. So I am going to start painting the road width and the lower hull, detail paint all this part. Lower hull, I mean this part from the fenders and downwards. And then I'm going to be back after I have painted and weathered all this stuff. Okay guys, just a simple heads up. While I am painting the road wheels, as you can see I have them all there, half painted, I am also working at the same time in detail pieces like the track holder over here in the front. I have opted for the PE brackets, and let me show you. I have mounted the tracks on a small piece of blue tack. Okay, these four PE pieces are falling exactly in place. Over here we have two indentations, which you probably won't be able to see because I have sanded them off. And mainly I have done this because the PE parts do not correspond on their place. So I have glued the PE parts onto the tracks themselves, and if you position the tracks in place, you can clearly see that everything is as it's supposed to be. Now, that was a quick heads up. I'm gonna continue painting my wheels and weathering them, and I'm also gonna continue with some detailed pieces that I left purposely off, mainly PE, and we're gonna see what's gonna happen. Okay guys, I have accepted the fact that this episode will have no consistency, and that's mainly because of my fault, because of the way I tend to paint things. It's been 2 weeks, I am really busy. I do things with no specific order. I mainly do work on my Panzer depending on my mood. I mean, I work on stuff depending on my mood, so we're gonna roll with it apparently. Now, I don't remember what I was recording the last time, which part of the video I was recording the last time, but I have already completed quite a few steps of camera. Let me start with the simpler parts, the easiest parts to describe first. I have painted all the road wheels. You can see some of them over here, some of them over here. Sprocket and idlers are over here. And let me grab them so I can give you a closer look of how they look, probably. This is their look. This is a simple base of dark yellow, dark brown wash, and Tamiya panel liner, and a simple deed of cleaning them up with white spirit. And at the edges of the teeth I have slapped some gunmetal, mainly because the teeth are entering the hollowed parts of the tracks, so there is friction. So I suppose that paint wouldn't stay onto it for a while. This made no sense. Okay, paint wouldn't stay onto it, so that's how these look. Let's move on to the idler. Same deal over here. Dark yellow wash, dark yellow paint, some washes, dark brown and panel liner, and all around the edge of the rim is gunmetal. And let me grab some road wheels so you can have a better look. Keep in mind that I have had no mud on any wheel for the time being, and this is how the road wheels are looking. The only difference here is that I have painted the tires with rubber black from Panzer Aces. This is my preferred color to depict rubber, so this is the color I always use. Some more green, some more dark yellow, dark brown wash, and the panel liner over here. I have left a little bit more panel liner on top of them because I want to depict them extra dirty. And that's all I have done with the road wheels for the time being, with all of the wheels I should say. So we won't add mud until the wheels will get onto the respected place, I mean onto the vehicle, so they're gonna stay like this for a while. Now, apart those, while I was waiting for those to dry, I have done some work onto the side armor. I have sanded it so the paint and glue can adhere better, and as you can see I have added all the brackets that will help it grab onto the vehicle. I haven't done any battle damage on them because I'm gonna do it when I will add them onto the vehicle, so they are ready to go and they will stay as they are until I will decide to add them onto the vehicle. So this is done as well, and I'm leaving it aside. And finally, what I have done is to paint all the how can I say it? Paint them all the lower part of the hull. Paint it and weather it, to be precise. Dark yellow, dark brown wash, just a little bit of panel liner here and there, and let me grab the one oil paint that I have used. This one is engine grease from Arptelung. This is one of my favorite oil colors. With just a small amount of paint you can work wonders. I used this one in strategic positions, mainly, let me see if you can catch it, mainly over here at these caps, one and one over here, and I have placed it onto the crevices, and I have pulled it down with white spirit to depict smudge streaks. My god, there are cut hairs everywhere. Anyway, apart that, once again dark yellow, dark brown, panel liner in strategic positions, and then it was a simple task of painting these leaves. I cannot remember how they are, suspension things. I cannot remember the name, but I will remember it on editing. So I have painted this with yellowish rust, 303 by Panzer Aces, and light rust. This must be 302 or 304. I cannot remember because there is no label on it anymore. So this is to depict surface rust onto the spring leaves. And finally, I have added a lot of mud, as you can see, with the help of this concoction from Vallejo, the earth texture, the acrylic. I have chosen this because there is a little bit left onto this jar and it will go off if I won't use it. So I tend to use it all on this diorama because I don't want it to go off. I just want to use it. You guys know what I mean. And now that everything else has dried, I have sprinkled a little bit dirt from my garden as well, just to give it variation. What my next step will be? My next step will of course be adding the tracks on. Now is the time for me to do it. I'm gonna do one side off camera, see how well it goes, and I may try to do the other side on camera. Okay guys, we returned back. We have the tracks in place, and although I know that I kinda promised that I'm gonna do one on camera, well, one thing led to another and I just did them all off camera. Okay, I'm gonna be totally honest with you, and I'm gonna tell you that I will do tracks on camera in the future when I will get a better tripod, so you can have a better view and I can have more space for my hands to work on, because right now camera is in front of me and I always bump on it. Now let's Okay, let's move on to how the things worked. Instructions are pretty clear on this stage, on this part. Tracks are length and length. And let me grab the instructions and show you. Over here, as you can see, we have several lengths and several links. I counted the links that the instructions tell you to use, and they tell you to use 22. On one side though, I used 24, and on the other side I used 23. There is a good thing that the kit provides us with a couple of spare links, so I am happy with that. One or two links deviation, it is okay by my standards. Give me a moment, guys, because somebody's calling me. So where was I? If I remember correctly, okay. One or two links deviation from the instructions, it is okay by my papers. It is to be expected. So okay, apart that one, I had no issues, although I have 2 or 3 points for you guys that are trying to build the same kit as I. Let me grab the tank, give you a look of how it looks. That's the look from one side. I think that's the side with 24, and that's the look from the other side, and that's the side with the 23. And I know I have to press these things onto the teeth of the sprocket over here, but I'm gonna do it later. Okay. Oh no, yeah, that's the side with the 23 parts. So what you have to be careful, as always, you have to be careful for the orientation of the tracks. I always forget it, and I always tend to place tracks with the wrong orientation, looking backwards. Luckily I have some reference pictures that helped me find the proper orientation of the Panzer tracks. This is how it's supposed to look. Another thing you have to be careful, specifically on this kit, the teeth are a little bit snag fit in the return rollers, so you have to press them down firmly. I know it is not depicted on this side perfectly, but on the other side were a little bit firmer. So if you press them down firmly, you win a couple of millimeters, which will help you to conform the tracks better and use one link less. Now, apart that, another thing you have to keep in mind with tracks, this is a thing that Lord Cohen taught me in one of his videos, is about the track sag. So Michael talked a lot about of this thing in one of his videos. I cannot remember in which one in particular. If I will find it out, there is gonna be a link on the description below. But anyway, what he told about, which makes sense, track sag is not a thing, to be honest. It is a thing if your tank is sitting parked on an absolute even ground, which means that the suspension will be free, will be chilled, if you get what I'm saying. The suspension arms would sit even, so no track tension would be present. That's the only instance where tracks track sag is present. On every other instance, like the tank is moving, or like the tank is sitting on uneven terrain, on mud, or anything you can imagine, puts the suspension in tension, road, it's not on even ground, what I wanna say, which means that tracks are firmly positioned like this. Now, a cool feature of this kit that I didn't know, and I realized while I built while I put it together, the tracks, is that they provide you with this piece over here. This piece is supposed to go over here on top. It's a more wavy part of a length, which helps you to depict track sag, which for anyone interested, building a stationary Panzer in an even ground is gonna be helpful. Now, in my case, since the vehicle is moving, track sag is not a thing. The tracks are tensioned, so I chose for the tensioned option. Hopefully all this ramble made sense, and I explained it well. Please guys, go to Mike's video for a better explanation, because he's far better from me in explaining things. And you're gonna learn a lot of stuff about tracks. Anyway, what is my next course of action now, you may ask? My next course of action will of course be to paint the tracks and start working my way upwards with paint. Paint the upper hull, etc. Now, let me paint the tracks, and I'm gonna be back to tell you exactly how we are going to move forward. So guys, as you remember, tracks are on, and now they are fully painted. A small update since the last time you have seen it, but nevertheless a significant one. The lower hull is already starting to take shape. Now, what I have done, of course, I have assembled the tracks, and the only thing that I have done is to paint them with Vallejo Panzer Aces Track Primer 304. This color is something like a dark brown color. I cannot specify the hue of the color exactly, to be honest with you. And by the looks of it, it is pretty convincing for a tank that has seen some time on the field. Now you're gonna ask me, how do I know? I have no clue. I just trust the company that says that this is a track color, a track paint. Anyway, we're gonna roll with this. Either way, it won't be much visible after I apply the mud. And even if it is visible, I am really happy with the results. So let me give you a closer look, as close as possible, without without getting dark, because I have no good lighting in my area for camera purposes. This is how it looks. Now at this stage I would be moving upwards with the painting stage. I would be painting more of the vehicle, but I have a small setback issue. I'm gonna call it a setback because it is not an issue. From the photo we can see this vehicle, not this exact one, because I have added some stuff, but you know what I'm saying. So from the photo we can clearly see the vehicle with a number 813. It has no Zimmerit, and it looks like it is a simple dark yellow. Now, various friends of mine, while we were talking about this topic, have sent me some more information about this vehicle. They have sent me more photos from a book, etc., etc. On those photos from the book, the vehicle is depicted with a three-tone camo scheme, and it also has Zimmerit. But on my photo, on this year's instance, we cannot see Zimmerit at all, at any stage. So we suppose that Zimmerit was later applied by the crew on the field. So Zimmerit is out of the question anyway. It was out of the question from the beginning. It was not part of my project this time. And now it is time for me to decide what I wanna do. Do I really wanna do another three-tone camo scheme vehicle, or do I wanna do a dark yellow scheme one? I am leaning to dark yellow, to be honest with you guys, because it is one of the camo schemes that I have worked the least through my involvement of modeling, through my involvement to modeling, sorry, and because it is an easier color for me to weather. Now, I will, of course, debate with myself a little bit more, do a little bit more research, and come up with a final decision. But there has been there has been quite some time that I have done an update on this one, so I am gonna leave you in a kinda of a cliffhanger until I decide, of course. So I suppose that I'm gonna wrap this episode up at this point, and with all that said and done, we have made it to the end of this one. On our next episode, we will probably decide the camo scheme of our camo scheme for this vehicle, for this tank, and we're gonna proceed with the painting and weathering stage. I hope that you guys found this video helpful and interesting, and stick along for the next one. Before I go, I wanna thank each and every one of you guys that watched this video. A special thank you to all my subscribers, old and new ones. You guys are the best, and you are one of the reasons I keep doing these videos. For the newcomers out there that encounter my video for the first time, welcome guys. I hope that you like what I do. If so, you all know what to do. Leave a like, comment with your thoughts and opinions, share the video if you believe that it deserves to be shared, or even consider subscribing for more builds to come your way. Until the next time, fellow modelers and friends, it was that Mofo Damon, signing out.